Good morning and Happy New Year from WKYT News. I'm Bill Bryant and welcome to a packed edition of Kentucky Newsmakers. Later, WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey talks about all the wild weather over the last year with an eye on what may be ahead in 2016. And Kentucky's next state auditor is here. State Representative Mike Harmon was surprised himself after winning statewide office against incumbent Adam Edlin, who far outspent him. But first, Governor Matt Bevin announced his plan this week to proceed with changes to health care. The governor says he will apply for a waiver that will allow Kentucky to design its own plan. Bevin says former Governor Steve Beshear's expansion of Medicaid is not sustainable. And Bevin says nearly 30% of Kentuckians are now on the federal program designed to assist the poor with health care. The new governor claims that is not sustainable.
As many of you are aware, the number that is often quoted is that we have 25% of Kentuckians on Medicaid. Sadly, that number is just about 30% now. It's over 1.3 million Kentuckians, so fast approaching 30%. That number is trending in that direction. That is literally not sustainable financially. The only way in which we are going to allow it to continue in any form, traditional, expanded, or otherwise, is to transform the way in which it is delivered. Transform what that looks like, to ensure that all of Kentucky's citizens have access to health care, not just in name, not just a card, but actual access. And ultimately, the reason being is that we want them to have better health outcomes. That is the purpose. That is the absolute intent behind everything that you're hearing today.
Of course, that is Governor Bevin, who has also brought in Mark Birdwhistle from the University of Kentucky to assist with revamping the state's approach to health care. He says the next several months will be crucial in formulating the plan, beginning with trying to get that federal waiver. And so we'll be watching that over the months ahead. Now to our first guest. By the middle of this coming week, actually Monday, Mike Harmon is going to be Kentucky's state auditor. He was the first Republican elected to represent the Danville area in 102 years, and now he promises to get to work looking for waste in state and local governments across the Commonwealth. Auditor-elect Mike Harmon with us, and we welcome you. Thanks for coming.
Well, good morning. Glad to be here, Bill.
Congratulations on your victory.
Thank you.
You were, as I mentioned, way outspent in this campaign. You acknowledged to me in an interview shortly before the election that it had been a great experience, that you didn't really expect to win, and yet you did. What happened?
Well, I knew it was going to be a long shot. You know, we talked about the last-second jump shot, and so we were truly blessed. We had tons of people out there praying for us, working for us. We just traveled the state as many times as we could. You know, kind of an interesting story behind that. The very next to last day, that Monday before the election, Governor Bevin, well, I guess he wasn't governor at the time, but Matt Bevin at the time asked all of us as a slate to travel the state. And he had a friend who had a jet, and he ended up, you know, chartering a jet, and we traveled the state, which we thought that was so funny because, you know, my opponent had run this negative ad against me, you know, trying to say that I was jet setting across, and I was like, man, are you sure you want to do that? He's like, no, it'll be all right. So we had an opportunity to see the entire state that one last time as well.
Well, ironically, you'll be leaving the House where you've served for the last dozen years or so, as Republicans have a shot at taking control of the chamber for the first time since 1921. Have you, well, first of all, would you like to be in the House with that narrow margin of control at this point?
Well, you know, it would be interesting. I've seen it go from, you know, fluctuate back and forth. I think when I first came in, there maybe were 36 Republicans, and so I've seen it change. I've seen sometimes it get a little more spunky than others. I would have loved to have been there when we were in the majority, but at the same time, you know, sometimes you just have to move on so that you can make way for other people.
Have you been surprised by the party flips and the appointments that have all but eaten away the Democrats' advantage?
Not really surprised. I mean, the appointments were people, key people that I know had good experience and quality individuals, so I was excited for them. The flips didn't really surprise me as much. Maybe Denny surprised me more so, Denny Butler, more so than any. But he's a good guy. You know, I've worked with him quite often. Jim Gooch, I knew Jim. Jim, a lot of his tendencies were more towards Republican than Democrat to begin with. So not a full surprise, but a pleasant surprise.
What kind of chemistry would you predict will be in the chamber and in these elections in this year ahead? This is going to be a pretty charged election year, isn't it?
It will be a charged election year. It'll be a charged House year. Of course, you know, we're also doing the budget. The budget year is always charged. Many of us have always said they probably should move the budget into the short session. One, to give the incoming governor a little more time than 30 to 45 days to pull everything together. But also, typically, when we go into session in those type of years, you don't see a whole lot get done until after the filing deadline for people to run against them.
Do you agree with the governor's concerns about the cost of the Medicaid expansion?
Oh, definitely. I mean, from a standpoint, the state is going to have to take on more and more of that cost. And even the federal dollars that are technically coming in are still taxpayers' dollars, but the state herself has so many struggles. I mean, we've talked about, when I was here before, the pension struggles. We've talked about some of the struggles with the, spending on education. So that's an area that's just going to eat more and more of the budget that we can't afford. So there'll have to be some restructuring in that regards.
What will be the first order of business for you as Kentucky's state auditor?
Well, after we're sworn in, we've got a couple of issues that are still open, so we've got to take a look at those and make decisions on how to pursue those. And then beyond that, we have some issues we want to pursue. One of them obviously is an audit of the CLEP fund, the Kentucky Law Enforcement Education Fund. That was one of the things that was reported and that Denny Butler had a concern about, and he had approached me. Interesting enough, he had caught me in the parking lot as I was coming in one day and was expressing some of his frustrations that it had not been audited. So, I asked some questions, and then our office decided, or I decided, that that's something we should take a look at. Obviously, one of the things we'd like to do when I was campaigning, we had a lot of individuals indicate I felt like there was a lack of consistency, and then some of their training they would get, they'd call a Department of Local Government, they would tell them one thing, the auditor's office would tell them something different. So we kind of want to come together and work on what I would call almost like an ISO 9000 type manual to help our counties better prepare. And if we do that, we can also help them save money, because if they're better prepared, we'll have less hours in their office, less hours or less billable hours.
The governor said he wants all of these pension funds to be audited and find out where they are. Will that be up to your office, or will that be done by hiring somebody outside?
Well, we're in dialogue with the governor's office. Obviously, that was the top of his list. It was the top of our list. And we're in dialogue whether or not they're going to do it completely independent or whether they do it through our office. Our only concern with that, we think there's going to have to be some items where we're actually going to have to put a little pressure on to have them release the information, and we're trying to determine. I know our office has subpoena power. We're not sure that the governor's office does, so we're in dialogue to try to make a determination of what the best course would be. But both of us are determined to make sure that it's done, and both of us are okay. We're not as concerned whether the auditor's office does it or not. We just want to make sure it gets done and gets done correctly.
What do you think is important that be known about those pensions?
Well, I think there's several items. One, we want to see what the performance is, and not just the end result of performance. We want to find out how much they have made. We want to find out what sort of investment fees have been spent. We hear a lot of different things, and there's just some barriers we're going to have to break down, because right now, once they adjusted the assume rate went from 7.5 down to 6.75. That also automatically lowered the funding rate from 19% to 17% specifically, and this is specifically in KERS, the Kentucky Retirement System. So there's a lot that we'll have to go in and take a look actuarially, one, how we got there, and one, how can we move forward. But the investment fees are one of the biggest issues.
Are there some entities that should have ongoing scrutiny that, it is always, well, there's now going to be an audit of this because we've heard something, there's missing money, or there's a problem that's been reported, and then the auditor's office goes and looks at it, while there are also some routine audits that are done as well. But are there some that just should assume you're always looking?
Well, I think from the standpoint, especially the pension funds, when you're talking about billions of dollars, I think they should, definitely have an audit on a regular basis, whether that's every, 3 or 4 years. auditors or anything along that lines, but it's important because we're dealing with people's livelihoods. There were promises that were made, and obviously it's getting tougher and tougher to honor those promises, so we got to get those turned around.
How do you avoid the appearance that, so it's now going to be a Republican auditor picking on Democratic officials in counties, and maybe it's accused that the Democratic auditors pick on the Republican counties?
Right. Well, and I think somebody had said, and I haven't confirmed this, that the last Republican auditor was 1967, or maybe, I don't know if that was departing or when they first came in. But, it's one of those things where we had made a commitment, even during the election cycle, that we were going to go in and we were just going to follow the data. Whether it's Republican, whether it's Democrat, and, we're just going to follow the data and wherever the data leads us.
Going into this office, is it your impression that Kentucky is generally a good steward of taxpayers' dollars, or do you expect to find leaky holes in the bucket, a lot of waste and abuse that is out there?
Well, I think you're going to find maybe a lot of waste, and there may be some abuse as well. Obviously our commitment is to go in and help people. I've often said that the auditor's office should operate similar to the legislative ethics, and what I mean by that is our legislative ethics people are great. If I ever had a concern whether this was correct or not correct, I could give them a call. Their goal was to make sure that we were doing everything correctly by the law and ethically, but obviously if we were doing something intentionally against the law, then they were going to point that out, and that's kind of what we want to do as the auditor's office.
How much opportunity will you give officials to respond to your audits? And sometimes it comes down as a very tough indictment when the information comes out that these problems have been spotted, and then it's difficult to get for the local officials to respond in a way that explains themselves.
Well, I think it's important for them to have the opportunity to explain what's going on. There may be something that we've missed. We don't indicate that we're perfect. It's our goal to kind of shine the light on it, and if we shine the light on it and they have a better explanation, then we can walk through that.
Do you anticipate referring when you suspect that it is possibly a criminal misdeed, that will be referred over to other investigators?
Well, we've already been in communication with the Attorney General's office, Andy Beshear, the new Attorney General, and we're going to work side by side in those regards. And in many cases, we may have an opportunity to run it by them before we release it to ask, does this look like it's going to have a potential?
How much importance will you place on what are called performance audits? That is, the kind of audits that are not so much looking at money as looking at if programs are doing what they were designed to do or authorized to do by the legislature?
Well, I think we're going to see more and more of that. One of our goals is, just as I said, to create almost like an ISO 9000 type manual to help our counties not to have the auditors on there so long, so that we can lower their cost. Now, the problem is it becomes almost a double-edged sword, because 2/3 of our revenue, for the auditor's office revenue, come from fees as opposed to general fund appropriations. So once we do that, we can become more efficient there. Then we'll have other areas that we can go and audit, including those performance audits.
Your main office will be in Frankfort. Are there other locations?
Well, we have people out in the field. We do have people out in the field. There's about 144, 145 current staff, most of those married. About 65 of those are out in the field, and they do have key people that come back in from time to time. But yes, we're spread out throughout the state just to help on the cost.
Do you anticipate a big scrap for your House seat over there in Boyle County?
Well, it's kind of interesting. We were talking about off air, 17, 18 years ago, you couldn't have paid a Republican to run for this House seat, and now there's already, initially there was about 5 from Boyle County that expressed interest, and I'm hearing through the grapevine there's even more, so it'll be interesting to see. And of course, that's a little different process, the special election, and then that special, whoever runs for the special election may end up having technically 4 races. They've got to secure the nomination from the party for that special election. Then they've actually got to win the special election. Then they've got to win if they have a primary, and then they would have to win the general election as well. So it'll be a busy year in Boyle County for whoever.
And somebody who did not get the special election might want to run in the primary anyway, and so
exactly.
You're right. So it could be a drama ahead. Well, thank you for coming in. We appreciate it. Hope you'll report to us regularly as to what's going on there in the auditor's office.
We certainly appreciate you having us, and a Happy New Year.
Same to you. So your auditor tomorrow will be Mike Harmon here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Now, we're coming back in just a moment. We're going to be checking in on weather in Kentucky. It has been odd lately. WKYT meteorologist Chris Bailey on the strange weather of late and what may be to come in just a moment. Welcome back, and it's great to have you with us here on WKYT for Kentucky Newsmakers. 2015 was simply an odd year in Kentucky weather, and it ended strangely with some wearing shorts and barbecuing over Christmas. But it started with one of the worst periods of winter weather the Commonwealth has ever seen. Remember that. We had two of the biggest back-to-back snowstorms in the region's history. The brutal cold also shattered some records. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey keeps track of all of that, and he is also looking ahead to the new year and what we may see in 2016. Chris, good to see you. Thanks for coming.
My pleasure. Good to be here. Good to wrap up a crazy year, too.
Yeah, or for getting up from your weather office and coming over here anyway.
It was a long trip.
And I want to start out with a question that I get asked a lot. You know, do you ever sleep?
No. And this is what I tell people. It's for the week. You know, sleep is for the week. I'll sleep when the weather's quiet. Unfortunately, around here, or fortunately, the weather's never quiet. Right. So, you know, I guess I won't sleep too much.
When they, as they say, when you take the dirt nap.
That's exactly right. The long dirt nap.
Let's look at 2015.
Yeah.
We really had some drama early on, and you know, and if you sort of look at this year and then look back at last year, I mean, we were clipping along okay, and then came February and March.
Yeah, we got to the middle of January and everything was in pretty good shape. We didn't have a whole lot of snow. We went through that prior December in similar fashion to what we were just going through. We didn't have very much snow. Late January hit, we picked up a little snowstorm, and then all of a sudden February, we got into Valentine's weekend, Arctic front arrived, and then a 10-plus inch snowstorm hit a few days later, and it was game on from there toward one of the worst periods of winter weather we've ever had around here. We followed that up in early March with a 17 to 20-inch snowstorm, back-to-back snows. In about a 3-week stretch, we picked up anywhere between 30 and 40 inches of snow in that time frame. Crazy.
And I remember people saying, you know, we were getting, like you said, into mid-January, toward February, people were saying, well, we've not had much snow this year. And all of a sudden, all the records are shattered.
Yeah, and that's how the weather goes anymore. I mean, we can go from 0 to 60 just like that now. And you know, climate becoming a little more extreme in terms of just whatever kind of weather. We get it all here in Kentucky. We're up. When we're up, we're way up. When we're down, we're way down. It keeps me employed, so that's okay.
Do you think that what affected the patterns last year was that, you know, we talk about these El Niños and these La Niñas, the basic winds that come across the Pacific?
You know, you started to see the influence, I think, of El Niño this year late in the summer and fall. This has not been a traditional El Niño, though. It's one of the strongest ever. As a matter of fact, I would probably put it in a category all its own, because you can't go back and find a year, at least in my mind, that featured such a strong super El Niño and then the ensuing weather turned out like this. It's not supposed to be this way. El Niños are typically cold falls. They typically, like this last time we were this strong with an El Niño was 1997. That December, the average temperature was 35 degrees. This December, the average temperature was 49 degrees. So it has not followed the trend.
Well, let's remember, the summer was pretty cool.
Summer wasn't bad at all. We had a wet summer. We had a summer that failed to live up to expectations in terms of 90 degrees again. Third straight cooler than normal summer. Then we moved on into fall. That was one of the warmest falls on record.
And it was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
You know, it was great.
We had a chance to dry out. We had a prolonged fall that basically kept going through Christmas Day.
You said at one point, and this is back, I guess, in June, we actually had tropical air mass over Kentucky.
We did.
It was like we were down around the equator.
Late June, we had a rare tropical depression. It was actually a tropical storm in the Gulf of Mexico. 4 days later, it was still classified as a depression. It was Tropical Storm Bill, by the way, and it moved right on top, the remnants of that, of central Kentucky. That doesn't happen very often at all. We had a lot of rain with that. We had a lot of 30 and 40 mile an hour winds. So we basically this summer lived through a tropical depression as well. which
Yeah.
is kind of crazy.
And as we said, okay, so the oddness continues. We get to the last part of the year, and this is where it really gets interesting as to where we are now. As we were into Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
and then this December, I mean, people were out there in the shorts, they were jogging,
Right.
they were washing cars in the driveways. I mean, this was odd for this time of year.
It really was. And for December in Lexington, we finished the month at 49.3 degrees. That's the average temperature for the month. That is roughly 14, 15 degrees above normal. Second warmest December ever. You got to go back to 1889, when records are a little sketchy to say the least, to find a December that was warmer than this one. The third place year, this was 5 degrees warmer than that year. So it's absolutely absurd. But you know what happened in that third place year? It was 1984. Average temperature in December was 45 degrees.
Yeah.
We hit this middle of January, we didn't get above 40 for about 4 to 5 weeks in a row, with a low of almost 20 below zero.
Yeah.
Patterns can flip like that around here.
Yeah.
December is not an indicator of how the rest of the winter is going to go.
And December also had all that tremendous rain.
It did.
You know?
We had record rains across most of Kentucky. For Lexington, we finished the year with the 6th wettest year officially on record. Ironically, it was also the 5th snowiest year on record because of February and March. So absurd in terms of those two extremes when you think about that.
What else stands out to you about 2015, looking back at that year?
Lack of severe weather again.
Yeah.
We have not had a true big severe weather outbreak around here, especially in the springtime. We had an October event back in 2014, but we haven't had a true major severe weather outbreak in the spring since the devastating tornadoes of March 2nd of 2012. Severe weather seasons around here have become non-existent again. That stands out to me yet again. Are we going to break that trend going forward? Yeah, trends are made to be broken, as you know.
Right.
So
well, we're going to talk about where you see things going as we head into 2016 in just a moment. Let me ask you this real quickly on forecasting, because I get this question a lot of times. When we predict a daytime high or a nighttime low and so forth, are we doing an average? Are we talking about Lexington?
Yeah.
What are we?
When you... I'm not going to speak for everybody else, but when you see me give a forecast high or a low, I'm going to give the average of everybody watching me. That's what I'm shooting for. I'm not trying to shoot for an airport thermometer. I'm just not. Guess what? No one lives at the airport. So and we have viewers everywhere across central and eastern Kentucky, obviously. One number is never going to fit all, so I'm going to try to come up with a number that is representative of the average of the entire area.
All right.
So that's what I'm doing with that.
And you're always watching those all those counties for
exactly right. That's exactly right. We're in Lexington, as everybody knows, but you know what? I don't care where you are. We're not leaving you out. I'm never going to do that.
All right, Chris Bailey's with us, our chief meteorologist at WKYT. So what is 2016 looking like early on? We're back with that in just a moment. Welcome back into WKYT's Kentucky Newsmakers, a packed program today. We've heard from the new state auditor, also a clip from Governor Bevin on health care, and we're now talking with WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey. We've talked about how wild 2015 was. Chris, as we look ahead into this new year, where we are now, 2016, what patterns are you seeing, and what everybody wants to know, what does the rest of winter look like?
Is it going to snow? Right?
Yeah, right.
That's what everybody wants to know. Are you going to get some snow days? Yes, it is going to snow. The winter forecast this year was way backloaded. And by backloaded, I mean, we talked about how we probably wouldn't have a whole lot of winter time until we got into the second half of the winter. We're getting to that point now, and there are some strong indications this pattern, it's already flipping. It's a lot colder out there right now, as we know. It didn't take much to become colder than where we were, but we're going into a pattern now over the next 2 to 3 weeks that is going to see winter take over much of the country. I suspect before we go through the end of February, people are going to be saying, wow, what a flip again. I don't think it'll be to the extreme as what we had last year. That's going to be really hard to duplicate. But I do think that people are going to be saying again, wow, I mean, we went from 70 on Christmas to boom, 0 or below again.
And we sometimes get our biggest snows late.
We do. We do. If you look at the past several years now, winters arrive late. You know, they don't start in December anymore.
Right.
And then they leave late. Spring has been starting later. We didn't have the trees budding out last year until deep into April. Same with the year before. So winters right now in this type of environment that we're in are arriving a little later. They're worse at the end, and then they're staying around into early spring. Now, this is a year, too, that we're making a transition from El Nino to La Nina. So the Pacific waters out at the equator, instead of going from way above normal, they're going to go colder than normal. Usually a pattern that flips like that is more conducive to two things. Spring severe weather around here, which we haven't had in a while, we're going to make up for it this year, and an active Atlantic hurricane season. We have not had a major landfalling hurricane in the United States in several years.
So for the next couple of seasons, we may have some things to watch out for. How should people prepare for, winter possibilities, ice storms, snow, and then that severe weather of the spring?
Given the fact that we've had such a warm start to wintertime, people are going to let their guard down. They're not going to, it's thinking, even the thought process of insulating your home over the past month has just seemed like an absolute ridiculous thought, because you were opening the windows, you're throwing the AC on. But we're going to go below zero before the winter's over. And as we go into the spring severe weather season, it will likely flip on a dime from that winter that is late and getting out of here to all of a sudden we're in the thick of severe weather like that. Always practice those severe weather safety plans. March 2nd, obviously that's not the peak of our severe weather season. We found out it didn't matter. We found out into Christmas week, 2 days before, we had severe weather. You can have it at any time around here. It's going to be an active spring severe weather season. Prepare for that one.
All right. So as you say, keep watching, stay tuned, and
we don't sleep, so we'll be here.
We know that. Thank you for coming by. We appreciate
Bill.
it very much. We want to thank you for joining us for this edition of Kentucky Newsmakers on WKYT. We'll have all the latest for you bright and early on WKYT this morning. We start at 4:30. I'll also be along for WKYT mid-morning at 10 and the news at noon, and we hope you make it a good week ahead.